Hello everyone, George here, and we're back to my implementation of Five Nights at Freddy's. And in the last video, I finished off the walls, and now it's time for us to address the ceiling and the floor. Now, I've been looking at reference material online, and it looks like everyone consistently puts square tiles, checkerboard tiles down for every location. And you know what? I will do that for the main areas, like the party room and so forth. That makes sense. But in other areas like the security room, especially given that this is going to be a VR game where you look around, and potentially I'm going to make it so that you can actually leave this room and go all about. It might make sense to make the floor a different kind of material so that you can just have another identifier to distinguish that what room you're basically in or where you've come from. But the first thing we should work on is actually the top, that is the ceiling, because we're going to take the same material we've been working with this entire time and placing it on top of that. So let's go ahead and grab, let's see, the ceiling looks the most like one of the side walls. So why don't we go into left, grab that, and go to ceiling and paste. There we go. And as you can see, not very far from perfect. So let's hit solo. And we've got some big problems here. So let's go ahead and open that up and take a look at what's going on. So our Spanish plaster is obviously an issue. Let's go to, let's just do white mask, because everything should technically be Spanish plaster on this one. Let's go to sulfur rock, and it looks like that's being controlled by our paint node, which we need to remove. Let's add a new paint node. Actually, we don't need to. There's nothing that really distinguishes this from anything else. There's no boundaries or borders, so we can just leave it as it is. Diamond doesn't exist, so that can go. Let's see, what is this? Tiles, they can go. And then finally, we're left with rust fine, which comes on the outer boundaries. So let's go ahead and bring everything back in and try to figure out why stuff looks so horrible. Let's move the light source around a little bit, and we're still getting that yellow appearance. So let's take a look here. So I'm guessing it's the sulfur rock that's doing that. So let's go ahead and remove the sulfur rock, and no, actually that's not quite doing it. Let's that's not doing it, and that's not doing it. I'm assuming that what's doing it is simply the fact that the light source is coming from an odd angle, and that's why it's so yellowed out. Now yeah, it's just simply the light source. What I am going to do really quick, just to make sure I didn't screw something up, is bake this particular texture really fast. And by baking it, I'm just going to make sure that it's, set up properly and all the materials are working properly. Okay, so yeah, it looks like it just happens to be the light source and where it's coming from in this case. So we're going to let it be at that. And hopefully when we get into the game, everything will actually look proper. Okay, so now why don't we take a try at the floor. So we're going to go ahead and paste the same node from before, and let's fix some stuff. So once again, we don't need the ceramic, the diamond, sulfur can stay, but the Spanish plaster, that needs to be dealt with. So let's go ahead and clear that to white. There we are. So the floor looks good. not as good as the ceiling. Let's go ahead and place a material down that we think is appropriate. So let's take a look at what we have. I'm going to go to large. And we have a concrete linear gray, which is a series of blocks, which might be okay for a security room. Trying to think about like Kmart's and Walmart's and what's in their security rooms. And a lot of times, they just pour down a concrete foundation and they'll just put whatever they need wherever. And I think that's probably going to be the best thing for me to work with at the moment. So let's put this right above Spanish plaster, because actually Spanish plaster shouldn't have anything to do with this. So concrete linear gray, let's go to, not that it needs triplanar, it really doesn't matter, but that's not good. So let's do maybe 4 iterations. That's not so bad. It's a little too rough for what I need, so we're probably going to need to mess with that. About 4.1. That's 4.3. I want to get it so that those side pieces aren't quite so bad, because if you think about it, when a person starts putting stonework down or tiling down, they're going to try to do it in the nicest way possible, and they're not going to want to have to cut a lot of these edges, so they'll start at one end and then cut them out at another end. So just something to think about. Okay, so we've got concrete linear gray, and what properties do we have that we can mess with? We do have the color, and the color is a bit, let's go to the yellow range, I think. Yeah. I don't know why, but I feel like everything else, maybe not yellow, maybe the redder range. I feel like that's going to work better with what we have going on here. So then we have what maps? We have normal and height that are working on this. So we have stains. I like the stains. We're going to crank them up a bit. And there's a number of tiles, right? Let's undo that. And then we have weathering, which is at 1, color, and then all the other attributes. Do we have anything that directly controls? So let's do height range. I'm going to way decrease that. Yeah, actually a lot. And now we should notice that that's not becoming nearly as much of a problem. Okay. I can live with that. All right, so then we've got our ceilings and floors done. So why don't we go ahead and get this stuff out of here and bring it over into Unity. So let's go to export textures. We've got all the different ones we've created. Let's go to our location, and let's see. Let's go to not the courses I'm teaching. Let's go to YouTube, reproduce it, FNAF, and let's see. I'm having a brain fart. Substance Painter, textures. We need to create a new folder, and let's call this security room walls. Okay. Select that folder and make sure we're exporting out in the Unity appropriate format. Hit export and give it a few moments. Open the folder up. Let's go ahead and go to textures, grab that. I'm going to copy it and bring it into our project. So FNAF, Anida Georgie's assets, and now we need to go to, sorry, I'm not liking the format of my layout here. So let's go to level. Did I really not break things down properly? Hold on a second. Let me double check things. So if we're in Maya and I go to Party Room and File, Send to Unity Selection, it takes me to Level. And then these individual ones here. Yeah, that's actually kind of a problem, isn't it? I should have split each one into its own grouping, now that I think about it. Ugh. Alright, it's time for a tiny bit of work on my end, so let's jump back in. Sorry, it's just, as I work on other projects, and you're not seeing any of the other projects I'm working on right now. If you think any of this stuff looks good, you should see the stuff that I have to make for this game that we're doing for a consultant. But under level, I need to break this down into the individual subrooms. So literally within Maya, I need to grab each of these sections. So like, for instance, security room, file, send to Unity selection, and do a new folder and call that security room. We can do like that, and then double click that, and then I'll export it into here. Oh, this sucks. I didn't really want to deal with petty stuff like this at the moment, but that's what happens. Okay, so under level now, we have a subfolder called security room, right? Yes, this one, which contains what we actually want it to contain. So under the security room, we can nuke that, delete it, and go to the new security room object and drag that into the project. And it's of course not the right scale. So let's go ahead and increase that by a scale of 10, hit apply. I forget what the scale should be. I guess it's 100 for this project. Apply. And there we go. So that's back, and we've got our walls good, and all the other textures come along with it just fine. So that's not an issue. Now what we need to do is, I'm not going to do it all in this video, but eventually I will do it for everything. So now that I've done that, I can go into security room under, security room, and then there's that. It doesn't look like I got did I not get a materials folder? Yeah, I guess they're all, unfortunately, inside of this main materials folder at the moment. That's kind of a pain. So what I'm going to do is just create a textures folder underneath security room and paste the Substance Painter stuff inside of that. And this is just another way for me to subdivide things an additional layer so that I have more control over what's going on and I don't have all this stuff in one giant folder. I have things split up into rooms, and hopefully it'll make more sense soon enough once I have more of these down in the scene. So let's go ahead and grab our walls, and we're going to need to do this several different times. So level, and since I pasted that in, oh, you know what I don't have? I don't have a collaboration on this. So let's go to start collaboration. It's not like I'm working on this with anyone else, but the cool thing about, okay, I'm not going to do a collaboration. One of the awesome things about collaborations are, one, when I'm at work, I get to share with multiple people very quickly, and we get to just pass stuff around. But it also tells you the latest updated stuff. So it's easy to hunt down anything new, especially if you're dealing with the textures inside of a scene. But we're not going to deal with that for the moment. We're going to lock down this, and we're going to take a look, and we're doing the security room front _M. We'll go to textures and security room walls, and underneath here, we just need to start linking up everything appropriately. So this is security room front M. So we have security room floor front albedo, front metallic, and front normal. And this process is going to be a little bit slow. So there you see it. Everything's looking okay so far. It's a little dark, but then again, our scene is kind of dark as well. We might need to tweak that again in Substance Painter later on. So once again, unlock, lock again, open up this, and we need left. So let's take a look. Left and left. and left. Fix now. And now we've got that set up. Let's do the floor next. Why not? Once again, lock, unlock, and open that up. The reason I'd lock it is because if you start clicking on things over here, you're going to lose whatever you were looking at before in the inspector. So now we just need the floor. 1, 2, and 3. Fix now. And there it is. Let's do the ceiling next. Why not? Right? And unlock, lock, open it on up, and ceiling. 1, 2, and 3. Fix now. Great. Let's do the right wall. Unlock, lock, open up, and left, right. 1, 2, and 3. Fix now. Okay, rotate that around, come to the other side, and that's pretty much it. So we're going to select that, and let's go to lock, unlock, or unlock, lock, and this is back. 1, 2, and 3. Fix now. There we go. So now we have our lovely security room with quite a lot more. It looks very monochromatic at the moment. I was going to say with our vibrant colors, but yeah, for right now, I mean, everything's so dark in the scene that we don't have much to look at. We'll be, changing that kind of stuff later on, making it look a little bit nicer. I mean, after all, we're still kind of trying to figure out how the game's going to work with a VR headset and so forth, and maybe we want to be able to leave the rooms and see what's going on and maybe walk around. I don't know yet. We'll figure that one out soon enough. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you didn't, hey, sorry about that. Maybe you'll like the next one. Otherwise, I'll see you next time. Have a great night. So long, goodbye.